The stars looked peaceful from the bridge of the horizon's edge. Captain Jun-Ho stood with his hands behind his back, watching the endless darkness of space through the viewport. His crew of 347 people had been traveling for 6 months, exploring new regions of space that humanity had never seen before. They were scientists, engineers, and explorers. They carried no weapons beyond basic defense systems. Their mission was simple: find new worlds and make friends with whoever they met out there. Junho was proud of his crew. They had discovered 3 new planets that could support human life. They had collected data that would keep scientists busy for years. In 2 more weeks, they would return home to Earth as heroes. His daughter had made him promise to bring back stories about aliens. He smiled at the thought. So far, they had found nothing but empty planets and silent stars. That changed when the sensors started screaming. Lieutenant Yuna ran to her station, her fingers moving fast across the controls. "Captain, we have multiple contacts. Big ones. They just appeared out of nowhere." Her voice was steady, but Junho could hear the fear underneath. Junho moved to the command chair. "How many?" 15 ships. No, 20. They are surrounding us." Yuna looked up at him. "Captain, their weapons are active." The communication system came to life before Junho could respond. The screen filled with an alien face. It had 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern, skin that looked like dark metal, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. The creature wore armor that glowed with strange symbols. "Primitive vessel," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Fleet Commander Tholmak of the Vring Coalition. Your species has entered space that belongs to us. This is not permitted." Junho kept his voice calm. "Commander Tholmak, I am Captain Junho of Earth. We mean no harm. We did not know this space was claimed. We are explorers seeking peaceful contact with other species." Tholmak made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peaceful. How amusing. Your ship is slow and weak. Your weapons are nothing. Your technology is like a child's toy." The alien leaned forward. "The Vrin Coalition rules 40 star systems. We have destroyed species far stronger than yours. You will submit to our control, or you will die." Junho felt his heart beating faster, but he kept his face calm. "We do not wish to submit or to fight. We wish only to return home. Please, let us leave in peace. Peace." Tholmak showed his teeth. "There is no peace for species who refuse to bow. You have one choice, human. Surrender your ship and accept slavery, or be destroyed. You have 60 seconds to decide." The bridge fell silent. Junho looked at his crew. They were scientists and explorers, not soldiers. They had families waiting at home, children, parents, dreams of the future. He thought of his daughter, waiting for stories about aliens and adventures among the stars. "We will not surrender," Junho said quietly. "We are free people. We choose to remain free." Tholmak nodded as if this was exactly what he expected. "Then you choose death. Let this be a lesson to your species." He raised one clawed hand. Fire. The Vrin weapons tore through the horizon's edge like paper. Junho had time to think of his daughter one last time before everything went white, then black, then nothing at all. 347 people died in less than 10 seconds. The Vrin recorded everything and broadcast it toward Earth. On Earth, billions of people watched the execution. They saw Junho's calm face. They heard his refusal to surrender. They watched their people die in the cold darkness of space. The message was clear. Submit or be destroyed. In a secure building in Geneva, Chairwoman Sora sat with the United Nations Defense Council. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had spent 40 years working for peace, negotiating treaties, and preventing wars. Now she watched the recording of the horizon's edge for the 5th time. "The Vryn have given us 72 hours to surrender," said one of the council members. "They want us to accept their rule or face total war." Sora said nothing. She played the recording again. Junho's voice. "We are free people. We choose to remain free." Admiral Taiyang entered the room. He was a tall man with silver hair and a face made of stone. He had spent his entire life in the military, rising through the ranks during the resource wars of the 2080s. He commanded the Solar Defense Fleet, the largest military force humanity had ever built. "Admiral," Sora said, "can we fight them?" Taiyang looked at the screen showing the Vryn fleet. 20 ships that could destroy the horizon's edge in seconds. Advanced weapons. Energy shields. Technology far beyond what humanity possessed. Then he smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Chairwoman, the Vryn made a mistake. They think advanced technology wins wars. They think we are weak because our ships are slower and our weapons are simpler." He pulled up a display showing Earth's military capabilities. "They do not know human history. They do not know what we are capable of when we are threatened. Can we win?" Sora asked again. "Win?" Taiyang's smile grew wider. "Chairwoman, we will not just win. We will teach them why you never declare war on humanity. They killed 347 of our people and broadcast it as a warning. We will respond with such force that every species in the galaxy will remember what happens when you threaten Earth." Sora looked at the council. Every face showed the same expression. Anger, determination, the kind of cold fury that could only come from watching innocent people die. "We do not surrender," Sora said. "Prepare for war. Total war. Show the Vryn coalition what happens when they underestimate humanity." The countdown began. 72 hours until the Vryn arrived. But humanity was not preparing surrender documents. They were preparing weapons, strategies, plans that would make the Vryn regret ever finding Earth. The aliens thought they were starting a simple conquest. They had no idea they had just awakened something terrible. The Vryn fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system exactly 72 hours after their ultimatum. Fleet Commander Tholmak expected to find a planet in chaos, leaders begging for mercy, perhaps a few primitive ships attempting to flee. Instead, his sensors showed something he did not understand, nothing that the space around Earth appeared empty. No defense fleet, no orbital platforms, no weapons, just silence. "They surrendered without even trying," said his second officer. "The humans are even weaker than we thought." Tholmak felt uneasy. Something was wrong. Species did not usually give up this easily, especially after responding with such defiance. He ordered his fleet to advance slowly, sensors at maximum range. That was when the mines detonated, thousands of them, hidden in the darkness, their signatures masked by simple but effective technology. They were not advanced weapons. They were containers filled with metal fragments, explosives, and radioactive material. Simple, crude, devastating. The Vryn shields protected against energy weapons and plasma. Bolts. They were not designed to stop thousands of chunks of metal traveling at high speed. 3 Vryn ships lost their shields immediately. 2 more suffered hull damage. Primitive tactics, Tholmak snarled. They use explosives like savages. Continue forward. Destroy everything you find. But there was nothing to find. No ships to target. No stations to destroy. Just more mines, more explosions, more damage. The Vryn fleet pushed forward, and each kilometer cost them more. On the human carrier Defiant, Admiral Taiyang watched the Vryn advance. He sat in his command chair, calm and patient. Around him, officers monitored hundreds of screens showing the battle developing. They are through the first minefield, reported Captain Yuna. Minimal damage as expected. Tai Yang nodded. Release the drones. 10,000 drones launched from hidden positions around the solar system. They were small, fast, and cheap to build. Each one carried a simple payload, high explosives, and a basic guidance system. No advanced technology. No energy shields. Just speed and numbers. The Vryn point defense systems started firing, destroying drones by the hundreds. But there were too many. They swarmed the Vryn ships like angry insects, detonating against hulls, damaging sensors, disrupting communications. Still not enough to destroy the advanced ships, but enough to blind them, to frustrate them, to make them angry. This is insulting, Tholmak roared. They fight like cowards, hiding behind machines. Where is their fleet? Where are their warriors? He would find out soon enough that Colonel Mingyo led the first real attack. His squadron of 30 ships appeared from behind Earth's moon, moving fast and low. The Vryn sensors barely detected them before they opened fire. But they did not fire energy weapons or plasma bolts. They fired kinetic kill vehicles. Dense metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds. Simple physics. Mass times velocity equals force. The Vryn shields designed to disperse energy did almost nothing to stop solid metal traveling at relativistic speeds. 2 Vryn ships died immediately, their hulls punctured in dozens of places. A 3rd ship lost all power and started drifting. Minho's squadron vanished back behind the moon before the Vryn could respond. They are using hit-and-run tactics, Tholmak said. They know they cannot face us directly. He was right. Humanity could not win a direct fight against the Vryn's superior technology. So they did not try. Instead, they did what humans had always done best. They adapted. They innovated. They fought Dirty Dot in a laboratory on Earth. Dr. Hannah worked without sleep. She had been given samples of Vryn biology recovered from the first battle. Dead Vryn soldiers, their bodies recovered from damaged ships. She studied their cells, their immune systems, their biochemistry. What she found made her smile, even though it was not a happy smile. The Vryn had evolved on worlds with very clean environments. Their immune systems were efficient but narrow. They had never encountered the wild diversity of Earth's pathogens. They had no resistance to human diseases. None at all. They are vulnerable, she reported to Admiral Tai Yang. We can weaponize our own bacteria and viruses, modified to target Vryn biology specifically. Tai Yang listened to her explanation. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Do it. We did not start this war, but we will end it." The battle continued. The Vryn pushed deeper into the solar system, losing ships to mines, drones, and hit-and-run attacks. They destroyed human defensive stations, but each station was automated or abandoned. They were killing machines, not people. Tholmak grew more frustrated with each passing hour. This was not how war was supposed to work. Where were the glorious fleet battles? Where was the honor? Where were the enemies to face directly? His answer came when Captain Yuna led a strike force directly past his defensive perimeter. Her ships, smaller and faster than the Vryn vessels, used the gas giant Jupiter's gravity to slingshot past the Vryn fleet. By the time Tholmak realized what happened, Yuna was already heading toward the Vryn supply ships, waiting at the edge of the system. Those supply ships carried food, water, ammunition, and most importantly, reinforcements. Yuna destroyed all of them in less than 20 minutes. No mercy, no warning, just ruthless efficiency. "Impossible," Tholmak whispered, watching the destruction. "They bypassed our entire fleet. Should we pursue?" His second officer asked. No. Tholmak felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. "If we chase them, we expose our rear to more attacks. The humans do not fight with honor. They fight to win. He sent a message back to the Vryn coalition. Send reinforcements. Many reinforcements. These humans are more dangerous than we thought. The coalition leaders watched the battle reports and laughed. Dangerous? These primitives with their crude weapons and simple tactics? Tholmak was getting old and scared. They sent reinforcements, but not many. The war would be over soon. They were wrong. Back on Earth, Admiral Taiyang received reports of the Vryn calling for help. He looked at the casualty reports. 57 human ships lost. 19 stations destroyed. But the Vryn had lost 15 ships, and their fleet was damaged, scattered, and demoralized. Most importantly, humanity had learned how the Vryn fought. They had analyzed their tactics, their weapons, their weaknesses. Dr. Hannah's biological weapons were ready. Colonel Minho's forces were preparing for the next phase. They think this is a war, Taiyang said quietly. They do not understand yet. This is not a war. This is a lesson. We are teaching them what happens when you threaten humanity. He looked at the star map showing Vryn space. 40 star systems. Trillions of Vryn. Advanced technology. Powerful weapons. And every single one of them had just made the worst mistake of their lives. Begin Phase 2, Taiyang ordered. Take the fight to them. Show them that we do not just defend our home. We destroy our enemies. The Vryn colony world of Kelthera had a population of 2 billion. It was a paradise world with clean oceans, perfect weather, and cities that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. The people there had never known war. They lived in peace under the protection of the Vryn coalition fleet, secure in the knowledge that their military was the strongest in the galaxy. That security died on a Tuesday morning. Major Daeun and his team of 20 soldiers arrived in a stolen Vryn transport ship. They wore no uniforms, carried no identification, and left no traces. They called themselves Ghost Corps, and they were about to teach the Vryn a new kind of fear. They did not attack military targets. They did not destroy buildings or kill civilians. Instead, they went to the central water processing facility and introduced something into the system. Something Dr. Hannah had created in her laboratory on Earth. A bacterium, modified to survive in Vryn biology, designed to cause fever, weakness, and terror, but not death. Within 3 days, half the planet was sick. Hospitals overflowed. The government declared a state of emergency. Panic spread faster than the disease itself. And Ghost Corps had already moved to their next target. The Vryn called it biological terrorism. Dr. Hannah called it applied xenobiology. The distinction did not matter to the millions of Vryn lying in hospital beds, wondering if they would survive. On the Vryn military station orbiting Kelthera, Commander Vexter tried to understand what was happening. His sensors showed no human ships. His intelligence reported no human soldiers. Yet his people were dying, and he could do nothing to stop it. Then the power failed. Ghost Corps had infiltrated the station 3 days earlier, posing as maintenance workers. Vryn security never checked carefully, because the humans were supposed to be trapped back in their own solar system. The guards learned too late that underestimating humans was fatal. Daeun and his team sabotaged the reactor core, not to destroy it, but to shut it down. The station went dark. Life support failed. Backup systems activated, but they had been sabotaged too. Within hours, the station was a frozen tomb drifting in space. Vexter sent a desperate message before he died. They are ghosts. We cannot see them. We cannot stop them. They are everywhere and nowhere. Emperor, protect us. The message reached the Vryn Coalition capital. Emperor Velshara watched the recording 3 times. Her 4 eyes narrowed in thought. She had ruled for 60 years, conquering 12 species and expanding the coalition to its current size. She had never encountered enemies like this. "How many humans are doing this?" she asked her intelligence minister. "We do not know, Your Majesty. Our estimates range from 50 to 5,000. They leave no traces. They use our own ships and uniforms. They strike and vanish like smoke." Velshara looked at the reports. 3 colony worlds infected with disease. 2 military stations sabotaged. 1 supply depot destroyed. And the human fleet had not even left their solar system yet. "What do they want?" she asked. "Surrender, Your Majesty. Complete and unconditional." Velshara laughed. It was a cold sound. "Then we will show them what the full might of the coalition can do. Send the 3rd and 5th fleets. Destroy their homeworld. Burn it until nothing lives." But before she could give the order, another message arrived. This one came from Earth, from Chairwoman Sora herself. It was broadcast across all Vryn communication channels, impossible to block or ignore. The message was simple. "You have 48 hours to withdraw all military forces from human space. If you do not comply, we will demonstrate a new weapon. We call it the Cascade Drive. It can make stars die." Velshara ordered her scientists to analyze the claim. They reported back within hours. The technology was theoretical but possible. If the humans had actually built such a weapon, they could trigger stellar collapse. They could make suns explode. "They are bluffing," Velshara said. "No species would build such a weapon. The risks are too great." Engineer Haijin, working in a secret facility on Mars, finished the final tests on the Cascade Drive. It was not elegant technology. It was not safe. It was designed to do one thing: destabilize a star's fusion process and cause it to collapse. The resulting explosion would destroy everything in the system. "It works," she reported to Admiral Taiyang. "But once we activate it, we cannot stop the process. Everything in that system will die." Taiyang looked at the star map. 3 Vryn systems had been selected as targets. Each one had military shipyards, weapons platforms, and billions of civilians. "How long do they have to evacuate?" he asked. 48 hours after we start the process," Haijin said quietly. "Maybe less." Taiyang thought of Captain Juno and the crew of the Horizon's Edge. 347 people murdered as a demonstration of power. He thought of the Vryn ultimatum. "Submit or die." "The Vryn made their choice when they killed our people," he said. "Now they will live with the consequences." "Activate the drives." 3 Vryn systems received the same warning. A human probe appeared near each star, broadcasting continuously. "You have 48 hours to evacuate this system. After that time, the star will collapse. This is not a threat. This is a notification. Leave now or die." The Vryn did not believe it. They thought it was psychological warfare, an attempt to create panic. Some people fled anyway, but most stayed. Military commanders refused to abandon their posts. Civilians trusted their government's assurances that the humans were lying. 48 hours passed. The Cascade Drives activated. Deep within 3 Vryn stars, the delicate balance of fusion began to fail. Gravity took over. The stars started to collapse inward, compressing matter to impossible densities. Then they exploded. 3 supernovas lit up the galaxy. 3 Vryn systems ceased to exist in the span of minutes. Planets, stations, ships, and people turned to ash and radiation. 12 billion Vryn died instantly. 3 more billion died in the aftermath as radiation swept through neighboring systems. The galaxy watched in horror. Species that had lived for millions of years, civilizations that spanned thousands of worlds, all stopped what they were doing and stared at the empty space where 3 Vryn systems had been. Lieutenant G1 broadcast a message across all known frequencies. His voice was calm and clear. You started this war believing we were weak. You killed our people to demonstrate your strength. Now you know the truth. Humanity does not wage war to win territory. We wage war to ensure our enemies can never threaten us again. Surrender now, or watch your empire burn. On the Vryn capital world, Emperor Velshara watched her species' territory burn. 3 systems gone, 15 billion dead, and the humans had barely begun to fight. Her council argued about what to do. Some wanted total war, demanding revenge. Others begged for peace, terrified of more stars dying. Velshara listened to them all, and then she made her decision. Send a message to the human commander, she said. Tell him we wish to negotiate. Admiral Tai Yang received the message. He read it once, then deleted it. No negotiations, he said. They wanted war. They will have it until they beg for mercy on their knees. Prepare the next phase. We take the fight directly to their capital. Major Dayan and Ghost Corps received new orders. Their next target was the most protected world in the coalition, the Vryn homeworld itself. They began planning immediately. The ghosts of Terra were going hunting again. Emperor Velshara stood on the balcony of her palace, looking at the city below. 10 billion Vryn lived on this world, the heart of the coalition. For 60 years she had ruled with absolute power, crushing any who opposed her. Now, for the first time in her life, she felt fear. The human fleet was coming. Her intelligence reports confirmed it. 100 human ships, moving toward the homeworld at speeds that should not be possible. They had learned to use Vryn faster-than-light technology, stolen from captured ships and improved with human engineering. What took the Vryn centuries to develop, the humans had mastered in months. We have 5,000 ships defending this system, her military advisor said. The humans cannot possibly win. Their fleet is too small. Velshara wanted to believe him. But she had believed the same thing about Kelthura, about the 3 dead systems, about everything else the humans had done. She had underestimated them at every turn, and each time it cost her more. Deploy all forces, she ordered. Nothing gets through to this planet. Nothing. The Vryn defense fleet formed a sphere around their homeworld, weapons charged and ready. 5,000 ships with energy shields, plasma weapons, and crews that had trained for decades. They were the finest military force in the galaxy, but they lasted 18 minutes. Major General Nari commanded the human attack from the flagship Indomitable. She was 50 years old, a veteran of the Mars Rebellion and the Jupiter mining. Wars. She had spent her entire adult life learning how to destroy enemies with minimal losses. Initiate. Broken Atom Protocol, she ordered. The human fleet did not charge forward in a glorious attack. They did not try to break through the Vryn defensive line. Instead, they stopped just outside weapons range and opened fire with everything humanity had ever created. Nuclear missiles by the thousands, each one carrying warheads that had been stockpiled for decades. Antimatter torpedoes, expensive and dangerous, but devastating. Kinetic kill vehicles launched from railguns, simple metal rods accelerated to a fraction of light speed. Chemical weapons, biological agents, radiation bombs. Every weapon, every missile, every bullet that humanity had ever designed or built, all launched at once. The Vryn shields held for exactly 40 seconds. Then they started to fail. The problem was simple mathematics. The Vryn shields were designed to absorb energy and disperse it. But they had limits. Given enough incoming fire, even the best shields would overload. The Vryn had never faced an enemy willing to throw away resources on such a massive scale. Humans did not care about cost. They cared about results. 5,000 Vryn ships tried to return fire. But the human vessels were already moving, using evasive patterns that seemed random, but were calculated by computers running simulations millions of times per second. The few shots that connected hit reinforced armor, designed specifically to absorb the types of energy weapons the Vryn used. They studied us, one Vryn commander reported before his ship exploded. They built their fleet to counter our weapons. They knew exactly how we fight. He was right. Dr. Hanna had spent months analyzing every piece of Vryn technology, every tactic, every weakness. The human fleet was not more advanced. It was specifically designed to kill Vryn ships. Within 5 minutes, 1,000 Vryn ships were gone. Within 10 minutes, another 2,000. The survivors tried to retreat, to regroup, but there was nowhere to go. The humans had surrounded them, using the same defensive sphere tactic the Vryn had tried to use. Emperor Velshara watched from her palace as her fleet died. She saw the lights in the sky, each one marking the death of a ship and its crew. She had sent these soldiers to defend their home, and now they were being slaughtered. "Send the civilian evacuation code," she ordered. "Get as many people off this planet as possible." But it was too late for evacuation. The human fleet moved into orbital position, and Major General Nari sent a single message to the surface. "This planet is now under human control. All military forces will stand down immediately. Any resistance will result in planetary bombardment. You have 10 minutes to comply." Velshara looked at her advisors. They were silent, defeated. The greatest military empire in the galaxy had been destroyed in less than 6 months by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "We surrender," she said quietly. The words tasted like poison, but they were the only choice left. She could not watch her people burn for her pride. 6 weeks later, Ambassador Yajan arrived on the Vryn homeworld. He was a young man, barely 30, but he carried the full authority of the United Nations and the newly formed Terran Federation. He walked into the Imperial Palace wearing a simple suit, carrying only a datapad. Velshara met him in the throne room, surrounded by what remained of her government. She expected demands for gold, territory, slaves. She expected cruelty and revenge. Instead, Yejun presented a document. "These are the terms of peace. You will read them, accept them, and comply with them. There will be no negotiation." Velshara took the datapad and read. The terms were harsh, but not murderous. Complete demilitarization. All Vryn warships to be turned over to human control. Technology sharing agreements. Reparations paid over 50 years. And a permanent human garrison on the Vryn homeworld, but no slavery. No genocide. No destruction of Vryn culture or society. Why? She asked. Why not destroy us completely? You have the power. Yejin looked at her with cold eyes. Because we are not you. We did not want this war. You forced it on us. Now you will spend the rest of your existence remembering what happens when you threaten humanity. Dr. Hanna entered the room, carrying a thick report. She placed it on the table in front of Velshara. This document details every tactical and technological advantage your species had at the start of this war, Hanna said. It then explains exactly how we analyzed, adapted to, and overcame each one. This report will become mandatory reading in your military academies. A permanent reminder of your failure. Velshara opened the report. Page after page of analysis, diagrams, calculations. The humans had not just defeated the Vryn, they had studied them like insects under glass, documenting every weakness and exploiting it with ruthless efficiency. You will also release all surviving crew members from the horizon's edge, Yejun continued. I am told there were no survivors, but I want confirmation. They are all dead, Velshara said. Fleet Commander Tholnak executed them as ordered. Where is Tholnak now? Dead. His ship was destroyed in the first battle at your solar system. Yejin nodded. Then he died too quickly. He pulled up an image on his datapad. This is Pilot Hanbin. He was on a shuttle away from the horizon's edge when your forces attacked. He watched his crewmates die. He is one of only 3 survivors. He showed Velshara a video. Hanbin stood before the camera, his face scarred from injuries sustained during his escape. He spoke directly to the Vryn people. I am Hanbin, survivor of the horizon's edge. Captain Juno was my friend. The crew were my family. Your leaders killed them to demonstrate power. Now you know the price of that demonstration. You declared war on a species that views war as an art form. We did not want to be warriors, but you gave us no choice. Remember this. Remember us. And never, ever threaten humanity again. The video ended. The throne room was silent. Sign the treaty, Yejon said, or Admiral Taiyang has permission to reduce this planet to ash. Velshara signed. Her government signed. The coalition, what was left of it, signed. The war was over. Humanity had won. 5 years passed since the end of the Vryn War. Earth looked different now. The skies were filled with ships coming and going, carrying goods and people across 73 star systems. The United Nations had dissolved, replaced by the Terran Federation. Humanity had gone from a single planet species to a galactic power in less than a decade. Chairwoman Sora stood in the same office where she had watched the horizon's edge die. She was older now, her hair completely white, but her eyes were still sharp. Today she was giving her final speech before retiring. The whole galaxy would be watching. 5 years ago, the Vryn Coalition declared war on humanity, she began. They killed 347 of our people. They demanded our surrender. They thought we were weak because our technology was simple and our weapons were primitive. She paused, looking directly at the camera. They learned the truth. Humanity is not strong because of our technology. We are strong because of our adaptability, our creativity, and our absolute refusal to accept defeat. The Vryn thought they were starting a war. They were wrong. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson about what happens when you threaten Earth. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched. Humans, Vryn, and dozens of other species who had made contact with humanity since the war ended. They all listened carefully. Today, the Terran Federation controls 73 star systems. We did not conquer them. We did not invade them. They joined us because they understood something the Vryn learned too late. Humanity makes the best allies and the worst enemies. Choose wisely which one you want us to be. Admiral Taiyang, now Supreme Commander of Terran Defense Forces, watched the speech from his new flagship. The ship was massive, built using a combination of human and Vryn technology. It had human weapons and Vryn shields, making it more powerful than anything either species could have built alone. She is right, said Captain Yuna, now his second in command. Half the galaxy wants to join us. The other half is terrified of us. Taiyang smiled. Good, fear and respect. That is how we keep the peace. The Terran defense fleet had grown to 3,000 ships. Not as many as the Vryn once had, but each ship was a masterpiece of combined technology. Human engineering merged with alien science, creating vessels that were fast, deadly, and efficient. But the fleet's real power was not in the ships. It was in the doctrine. Human military strategy, refined over thousands of years of warfare on Earth, now applied to galactic combat. Hit and run tactics. Psychological warfare. Overwhelming force applied precisely where it hurt most. 3 species had tried to test humanity's resolve since the Vryn War ended. 3 species learned the same lesson. None of them existed anymore. In a laboratory on Europa, Dr. Hanna continued her research. She was now the head of the Xenological Threat Assessment Division, responsible for analyzing every new species humanity encountered. Her job was simple: find their weaknesses before they became enemies. "We have made contact with the Kellner Republic," her assistant reported. "They seem friendly. They are offering trade agreements." Hannah pulled up the biological data. "Run a full analysis. Check their immune systems, their biochemistry, their environmental needs. I want to know exactly how to fight them if we need to." "Are we expecting war?" "We always expect war," Hannah said quietly. "Hope for peace, prepare for war. That is the human way now." She thought about the disease she had created to infect the Vryn. It had been horrible and necessary. She had not enjoyed creating it, but she would do it again if humanity was threatened. The galaxy needed to understand that humans would do whatever was required to protect their own. Captain Yuna received orders for a new mission. She would command a fleet of 50 ships on a deep space exploration mission, pushing further into unknown territory than humanity had ever gone before. The mission would last 3 years. "What are our rules of engagement?" she asked Admiral Taiyang. "Seek peaceful contact first," he replied. "Offer trade, friendship, and alliance. But if threatened, respond with overwhelming force. Make sure they understand that attacking a human ship means war with the entire Terran Federation." Yuna nodded. She understood. Humanity's reputation was their greatest weapon now. Most species would rather negotiate than fight. But there would always be some who needed to learn the hard way. On the anniversary of the Horizon's Edge destruction, memorials were held across human space. Captain Junho's daughter, now a young woman, spoke at the ceremony on Earth. Her name was Minji, and she had followed her father's path, becoming a diplomat in the Terran Federation. "My father believed in peace," she said to the assembled crowd. "He sought friendship among the stars. The Vryn killed him for that belief. But his death was not meaningless. It taught humanity and the galaxy an important truth. Peace is precious, but it must be defended. We must be strong enough that no one dares to threaten us again." She unveiled a new monument. It showed Captain Junho standing on the bridge of the Horizon's Edge, facing the viewport with his hands behind his back. The inscription below read, "We are free people. We choose to remain free." Those words had become humanity's motto. They appeared on every ship, every station, every building in Terran space. They were taught to children in schools. They were the first words aliens heard when making contact with humanity. Commander Minji now led the diplomatic corps, responsible for all first contact situations. She had created a protocol that every human diplomat followed. The first message was always the same. Humanity seeks peace, prosperity, and partnership. We offer trade, friendship, and mutual defense. But never mistake our preference for peace as inability for war. We are the species that ended the Vryn coalition in 6 months. We are humanity. Choose your next words carefully. Most species chose peace. They looked at what happened to the Vryn and decided that trading with humans was much better than fighting them. The Terran Federation grew through alliance rather than conquest, which was exactly what Chairwoman Sora had wanted. But there were always a few who did not learn. A species called the Torvin made the mistake of attacking a human colony world, thinking it was poorly defended. They killed 800 colonists before the defense forces could respond. The Torvin never made it back to their home system. Admiral Taiyang sent a battle group that intercepted them in deep space. The engagement lasted 7 minutes. No Torvin ships survived. No Torvin prisoners were taken. Then Major General Nari led a fleet to the Torvin homeworld and delivered a message. "You killed 800 of our people. We could destroy your entire species in retaliation. Instead, we offer you a choice. Join the Terran Federation Accept our protection and our laws, or face the same fate as the Vryn. You have 24 hours to decide. The Torvin chose to join. They had learned the lesson. In the former Vryn capital, Ambassador Yejung worked with the new Vryn government. Emperor Velshara had been removed from power, replaced by a council that answered to human oversight. The Vryn had been allowed to keep their culture, their identity, and their freedom, but their military was gone forever. Do your people hate us? Yijin asked a young Vryn council member. Some do, the Vryn admitted. They remember when we were powerful. But most understand that we brought this on ourselves. We attacked you first. We underestimated you. The fault is ours. Yejing nodded. Your children will grow up in a galaxy where humans are partners, not enemies. That is worth more than pride. The Vryn agreed. Their economy was recovering. Their people were healthy. They traded with humanity and other species, and life went on. They were no longer an empire, but they were alive, which was more than could be said for the species that continued to resist. Pilot Hanbin, one of the 3 survivors of the Horizon's Edge, had become something of a legend. He toured the galaxy, speaking to schools and military academies about the war. His scars had healed, but he wore them proudly. The Vryn thought technology won wars, he told audiences. They had better ships, better weapons, better shields. But they did not have what we had. Human determination, human creativity, human refusal to quit. That is what won the war. He always ended his speeches the same way. Remember Captain Junho. Remember the crew. Remember what they died for. Freedom, dignity, the right to explore the stars without fear. We carry that legacy forward. Every time we meet a new species, we offer friendship first. But we never forget that we can fight if we must. The galaxy had learned its lesson. When humanity entered the galactic stage, they were dismissed as primitive newcomers, barely worth noticing. Now, they were the standard by which military power was measured. Species that wanted to be safe made alliances with the Terran Federation. Species that wanted to survive made sure never to threaten human interests. Chairwoman Sora finished her speech with a final thought. The Vryn declared war, expecting submission. We responded with a masterclass in destruction. Let that be a lesson to any species that mistakes our love of peace for weakness. We are humanity. We do not seek war. But when war finds us, we perfect it. The galaxy listened, and the galaxy remembered.